Always keep your eye out for these decorative little plates. Before you upcycle them, always do the research. Make sure they're not worth any money before you're changing anything. This one isn't. And I'm going to show you a clever way to use this. You're going to flip it over. Make sure you have it so the right side is up. Grab some of these electrical plug covers, the ones that are like the baby proofing ones. I'm going to use some E6000. We are going to put some E6000 on the back. Oh, I hate E6000. I hate it, but it works so good. There we go. And if you don't put the cap on immediately, it spews everywhere. Okay, the big thing is to make sure that you're going to have this on straight up on your plate in the center and your plug facing the right way. Press it right down. Set this aside for 24 hours and you're going to be able to cover up an ugly old outlet that's kind of in a weird spot with this decorative plate. Isn't this the cutest little dish? Looks like a little gravy boat, but we're going to turn it into a candle, and it was only $1 at the thrift store. We're going to get the price tag off. We're going to clean it up. And I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to turn this into a candle. I've got these beautiful wooden wicks that I really love them. I think they look really elegant. Just press the metal piece in there. I just like to put a little bit of hot glue on the bottom. Push it right in, just so it holds secure. Okay, we're gonna set that aside. Now I have a tin can full of candle wax that I always have on hand. And let's get this out of the way here. I've got a hot plate here. It's on the go. Heating up some hot water. This is just a pot that I keep in my craft room. The tin can, we're gonna place it in the hot water. We're just gonna let it melt and do its thing. And then we're gonna pour it in our little container. Okay, it's completely melted. It's very warm. So we're just gonna take this out, set it on the table, very carefully move this. I am going to add some patchouli. Love the smell of patchouli. We'll put about maybe 20 drops. Perfect. And then we're just going to slowly, I'm just going to scrunch the one end a little bit. See how I did that? And it just gives it a little bit of a pour spout. Pick it up and just slowly pour it into our little container. Fill it right up. There we go. Now we're just going to set this aside and let the wax harden, and we'll be back. Okay, this DIY I actually saw on Instagram and on TikTok. It was kind of like floating around there, and I'm like, I want to try this. Everybody has or used to have these Himalayan salt lamps, or just the hunks of salt that you could put a candle in. And what you essentially want to do, it was $4.99, good deal. I used to have one, and the moisture in the air, because it was just sitting on like a wooden pedestal, when it was really high moisture in the room, it would start to, of course, kind of run, and it was just a goopy mess. But this won't happen with this technique here. So we are going to take this. This is just salt, huge hunk of Himalayan salt. I have a towel here. We're going to put it in the towel. Here's where you can get out your frustrations. You're going to get a hammer, and you're just going to hit it, and you're going to break up that Himalayan salt. Make sure you're wearing some eye protection. And I probably shouldn't be doing it on my table. So I'm going to take it down on the cement floor, and bang away on this, and I'll bring it back when I have it all done. Okay, so now we have all of these little pieces of salt, and I have this little thrifted Trinket dish, and you can just fill it up with the salt. So what salt is it's gonna absorb, it naturally absorbs moisture or odors all on its own. Having that light or that candle in it doesn't speed up that process at all. It just naturally does that. I think that's the science. If somebody knows more than I do about this, which probably is, just let me know down in the comments. But I am just filling this up. I'm going to stick it in my kitchen to absorb some kitchen smells. And already it looks beautiful. Another way that you can use up some of this Himalayan salt, I have a larger vase, is place it in there. These are so beautiful, just kind of like rocks like this. And then you can nestle in, get all the pieces here, nestle in a votive in the top. You want to make sure that it's not touching any of the salt, but it kind of gives that kind of spa vibe. You want to make sure also that it's on a level spot, so it's going to burn carefully, and it looks gorgeous. If you have a little glass votive, you could put it in and then nestle the salt around it. You just want to make sure that you don't have the flame in the salt. Now, another way that you can also use this is this will absorb naturally moisture and odors. You don't need to do anything else. But if you would like it to disperse a little bit of a scent, you can drop in some essential oils, and it's just going to give off a nice little scent and be a real gentle kind of smell. Now, if you want to kick that up a little bit, you can add heat to the salt after you add the essential oils, but be very, very, very careful. This is flammable. So if you're putting the essential oil near a candle, you have the potential of having a little bit of a flare up. So like this one here, if you wanted to add some essential oil, because the essential oil does smell better when it has a little bit of heat to disperse it more. It will disperse this way, just in a small little area. Add some heat and it'll make your whole room smell nice. This one, you could just put a few drops around the outside before you light the flame, and then put the candle in, and it'll smell beautiful. But this is just kind of a fun way to use up those Himalayan salt lamps that are in every thrift store for pennies on the dollar. Through the picture frames because I love finding little tiny ones. This one was just so beautiful, so ornate. We're not going to use it as a picture frame though. We're going to take this apart and take the glass out for now because we don't want to break it. I'm going to take the back off. Usually these just come off quite easy. We don't want to wreck the back. Oh goodness, is it going to come? There we go. I might want to. What have I got here? Let's get a pair of pliers. I'm not going to tear this off because it will rip it. So we're just going to squish these down a little bit. And I have a beautiful digital download. It's available in my Etsy store. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'll put the QR code right here and the picture of it. A flower bouquet, looks very old, very vintage. I put it in Google Docs. I sized it to fit the inside of the frame. It's right here. I'm going to lay it exactly where I want it. I'm going to get a little bit of that vase in there, trace around it, cut it out. Okay, we're gonna put it back in our frame, put the glass in, making sure it's nice and clean. Is it clean? Yeah, it is. Except I put fingerprints on it after I cleaned it. Put the picture in, fits really well. Oh, that's so beautiful. And put our back on. Snap it in there. Now I bought on, and this one's kind of loose. It's a really tiny little screw. We're going to just tighten that up just a little bit. There we go. Tighten it up. Now, I'm kind of thinking I need to get this off. It's not going to work where it is. So give me a second. I'm going to tear this off. You don't need to watch me. We'll be back. Okay, we got it off. Actually, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It popped off pretty easy. But this has got a little bit of a crater in it. I don't like the look of it. So we're going to switch it around so it's now facing on the inside. Let's pull these around. Now, I got on Amazon a huge package because I use them all the time of magnets. And we're going to turn this into a little magnet. I do find that the sticky that comes with them isn't enough. So I always just grab my glue gun. What the heck? Oh, my charger fell off. There's always something. And I find one magnet is not enough. So let's add 2. I got a huge string of hot glue happening here. It'll be in my hair before we're done, I'm sure. Stick that on. Let's head up to my fridge and see how beautiful this is. Don't sleep on looking for those little tiny frames. You're not going to believe what I can do with a thrifted pillowcase, beautiful floral, a lamp and lampshade. Now the lampshade has seen better days. We're going to put this all together, make something really beautiful. This is a gorgeous lamp. It actually looks like somebody has put some new wiring in it because it's definitely new compared to what I would think that the base of this glass would be. It's beautiful crystal, glass crystal. There is a way of testing it. You have to tap it. If there's anybody in the comments that is an expert at the difference between crystal and glass, let me know down in the comments. Anyway, beautiful lamp. It's tiny. I'd love it. We're going to, let's cut this little piece of ribbon off. I think I'm going to use it later, so I'm going to set it aside and put it right here. Cute little lampshade. And let's put this out of the way. I'm putting it on the floor because if I have a stool right here. If I put this on the stool, I'm going to knock it over. I'm going to break it. And then we're not going to have an upcycle. Okay, so let's start to cut this pillowcase. We're going to take the this part off. Now we want to rip it because I want a ragged edge. So we'll rip this off. We'll save that. It can be used for something else. We're going to cut down the seam. Oh, I got a thread and needle here. That's going to get caught up. We don't want to lose that. We're going to put this here. There's so many beautiful pillowcases at the thrift store. If you're ever looking for fabric, you don't need to go to the fabric store. You can probably find exactly what you need at the thrift store and for a fraction of the price. Okay, so now we have this great big piece of fabric. There is a stitched edge along here. So let's get rid of it. We'll save it for another project. Now I'm just going to start cutting strips lengthway. Let's do 3 inches. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We can just eyeball it. So I'm going to rip these up in 3 inches. We'll be back when I have them all done. With the magic of editing, these have all been ripped. I've pressed them with the iron and they're all ready to go. We have quite a few here. So now this is where I'm going to use my needle and thread. And I am just going to weave in and out. Doesn't have to be perfect. We don't want this perfect. This is going to look kind of shabby chic, kind of granny core. I don't know what all the technical words are, but we're going to just keep going back and forth. I just have some white thread. And this is what we want to create. So this is going to take me a little while. So I am going to, you guys get the idea of this. You don't need to watch me. I will be back when we have these all done. Okay, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. I think that's going to be enough. We have all kinds of fabric left over. Like I said before, don't sleep on pillowcases, bed sheets, duvet covers, so much fabric there. These can get turned into ribbon, etc. Okay, so what we want to do now, we want to kind of just space this all out so it's nice and even. And this is going to be the base on our lampshade. We're going to use hot glue. Let's start. There's a seam here, so we're going to start everything there. So this will be the back of the lamp. Pull the sleeves up. Get ready for me to burn my fingers. Darn glue guns. Okay. This is a wonderful one though because it is cordless. So it really helps with being able to use it in areas where you would be restricted with a cord. We're just going to go around and space it out as we go. And add it to the rim of this lampshade. So I'm just going to work away at this. I'll be back when I get this all glued on. Okay, first layer is on. There is the end. And we can just take the hot glue and just add a little bit on there just to kind of keep, oh, I went in the wrong spot. Just to kind of keep that in the right spot. It's nice because there's a lot of pattern here, so it really camouflages a lot. So there's our first layer. Now we're going to go in and lay the next layer on top. We're going to kind of scrunch it around so it's ruffled pretty and hot glue it. And we're just going to layer one layer on top of layer on top of layer. If you have little strings, you can just trim it up and neaten it as we go. Okay, I got all the layers on. So cute. And this is why I saved that little bit because I think I'm going to just put it around the top just to finish it off with some hot glue. And then we will put this together and I'll show you how cute this turned out on the lamp. I found a goodie bag full of cookie cutters. Always keep your eye out for these. And these are really good ones, old ones. They're really nice to put in a dish for the holidays. I haven't even opened this and looked at them yet, so I don't even know what's in here. But we have a gingerbread. We have almost maybe, I think that might be a Santa with a little pack on his back. Some holly. Ah, star, an angel. A lot of these are Christmas theme, which is wonderful. Christmas tree, a Christmas bell, a star, gingerbread, and I know what this is. Do you know what this is? My grandma had one in her kitchen, and it's a donut cutter with a hole in the middle. This one is really fantastic to find. So I'm going to show you how you can use these cookie cutters with some clay. Let's pick which one are we going to use? We're going to use the star. We'll put the rest of these over here. I've got some air dry clay that I picked up at the dollar store. We can get ours for $2, and it's actually pretty decent air dry clay. I'm gonna take a piece off, and they have the different colors. This one I'm not a real fan of because it is the red clay. It does make your hands kind of red and stained, but it washes off. I'm gonna get our roller out of the way here. You want to roll it about 1/4 of an inch. I think I need some oil. And we're going to take our star. Actually, no, we're not. I have a piece of lace that I cut out of an old tablecloth that I had. We're going to roll that in the air dry clay. It's just going to make a nice texture. Beautiful. Now we're going to take our cookie cutter. We're going to press it down. This is why you always have to look for cookie cutters. Oh, perfect. Stars. Take away the extra. We're going to set these aside. We're going to let them dry. And I'll show you what we're going to turn them into. Do you ever do a happy dance when you go to the thrift store and you find something that's on your list of wants, and sometimes you hunt for months before you find one? Mine is original oil painting, and I found this for $4.99. It's original. It's gorgeous. I love the colors in it. It's going to match my home decor beautifully. The frame is not so great. And actually, I'm not even going to use the frame. I'm going to actually take the painting out because, wait until you see what I can put together. So here's the oil painting. I love the colors. And I don't know much about oil painting. I'm not an expert at all. I'm just kind of drawn to it. A lot of it is because I know somebody's put their love and heart and soul into a piece like this. And then it just shows up at the thrift store and I can't leave it there. I have to bring it home and display it and be proud of it for whoever would have done it in the beginning. So check this out. I had this frame in my stash for a long time. And I was just waiting for the right painting to fit in it. And I think this is it. I love it. It fits in here perfect. Perfectly perfect. And let me just see. Yeah, like how it was meant to be. Now, the only thing that I'm kind of torn between is painting the frame. Not really feeling the white, and it's kind of dingy and it's banged up quite a bit around the corners. Kind of thinking I might paint it black and then use my rub and buff and bring out, just like they did on this one, bring out the gold touches in that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint this frame black, and let's get to it. Before I get painting, I wanted to show you, I picked this up for $12.99, probably like a year and a half ago, and I've had it just in the basement here waiting for the perfect piece. So it's ready to be painted. I've got some black chalk paint, and I hope I don't regret this. No looking back. I always love everything black though. All the black is dried. I didn't put it on really thick because I wanted some of that white just to kind of maybe peek through here and there. I am going to be using Rub and Buff Antique Gold. If you have not used Rub and Buff, it's something that you need to experiment a little bit with. A little bit goes a long way. I'll show you. On anything raised, it's going to, see that? It's going to bring out all those accents. And you don't need very much. And it's going to take an old worn out frame and make it beautiful again. Just a little bit more. And this is just a stencil brush that I like to use to apply the rub and buff. And I just use it strictly for this. Oh, I love it. I'm thinking I might even do, there's like a rib on the inside and the outside. And I think I'm going to do all of it. I think I am. Yeah, I like that. So elegant looking, and that oil painting is going to look just gorgeous in it. Okay, so I'm going to work away on this rub and buff, and I'll be back when it's all finished. What do you think? I absolutely love it. Love the rub and buff on top. Gave it that real kind of elegant look, but I think I'm going to seal it up with some polyacrylic sealer. Just makes it easier to dust and to clean afterwards. I think I have some semi-gloss. Let me grab it. Yes, I have some clear semi-gloss polyacrylic sealer, and I'm going to seal this frame up before we put our oil painting in it. I'll be back. Now let's get this print in so we can do the big reveal. I added a hanger on here. It had the wire, wasn't in really great shape. I like these hangers better. I've got some little finishing nails to secure it in the back. And once it's all done, I'll show you how beautiful it turned out. We'll be back. All finished. $12.99 for the frame, $4.99 for the oil painting. Absolutely beautiful piece of home decor. I can't wait to add. Before you go thrifting, do you ever have a little bug in the back of your ear say, this is what I need. I'm going to see if I can find something when I'm out thrifting instead of buying new. I did that, and I was looking for just little dishes that I can put sauce in, or just a small amount of a dessert. I walked into the thrift store. The first thing that I saw was this stack of little bowls. It's exactly what I wanted. Really good quality, heavy, brand new, still has the sleeves in it. So we got 3, 4, 5. It was $2. No brainer. Didn't have to buy new. And now I've got my little bowls that I was asking for. I sent it to the universe. This is what I got. I found this at the thrift store, immediately fell in love with it. Transfer wear? I'm not sure, but I love the colors. But I wasn't quite sure what it was for or what I could do with it. So I went to ChatGPT, my favorite new best friend, took some pictures. I'll put a screen recording right here of me doing that. And it's going to tell you exactly, not all the time, you might have to do a few prompts. It's going to tell you exactly what it is and what it is used for. And then I also asked it what I could use it for. And it first said that it was an egg cup. It's not. It's too big. It was too big. So I took another picture of my hand holding onto it, and they're like, oh, no. It's not. It's a custard cup. It's not worth a lot of money, but it's still not something that you want to fool around with or paint or anything like that. It's beautiful just as is. I think what I'm going to do with it, I think I might try to find an air plant or something like that and put it in it and just display it in a little nook or cranny that I have, and it's beautiful. One of my favorite thrift stores has a buy 5 books for $1. So every time I go in, I pick up 5 books that kind of catch my eye, and I use them for decor throughout the house. This one, this time around, I found some really great ones. Look at the graphic on the front of this book. Isn't that gorgeous? The old pages. And sometimes I just like to grab one of these and just kind of sit on the couch with a cup of tea and just flip through it, do some reading. But I usually just use them for display. And I also picked up this older one. It is called Ellis. I can't read that. What is it called? Oh, look at it. 1939. A Teller of Tales. Just gorgeous to have in your home. And the color complements my dining room really well. So that's where these two are going to go. And then the last 3 that I picked up are cookbooks. I love looking for cookbooks, especially older ones, and just displaying them in my kitchen. I have a hutch where I just kind of collect ones that catch my eye. I don't cook. I don't like cooking. My husband cooks. I clean. It's a really good partnership for that. But my daughter loves to cook. Kirsten, if you're editing this, look at these cookbooks that I got for you. And when she comes to visit, she goes through them, and a lot of times she'll pick out some recipes and she'll make a supper. Beautiful graphics on this one. Country Living's Country Kitchen. If I don't like the front of them, you can always take the sleeve off and display them that way. Hors d'oeuvres, 5 for $1. You can't beat that. Every time I go, I grab 5. I love this tissue box cover. I always have tissue in my bathrooms or Kleenex in my bathrooms, but a lot of times I don't like the print on the cardboard that they put them in. So it's always nice when you can find these, because then you can make it match your decor. Beautiful white. Love the detail on it. I don't have any Kleenex this size. I usually buy the longer box. So next time I'm in town, I'm going to buy the smaller one that will fit in here. But it was only $6.99? $5.99. And then when I was looking at it at the thrift store and I flipped it over, it still has the original price tag in here. And it was $39.99. And it's really heavy. So I'm excited to put this in one of my bathrooms. We're going to grab some Kleenex, and nice deal. I spotted this crock, fell in love with it immediately, but I even fell more in love with it when I asked how much it was. There wasn't a price tag on it. $4. I grabbed it right away because I wasn't really sure exactly what the value was or much about it, but I did know that it was worth more than $4. Beautiful stamp on it. Still has the lid. I went to ChatGPT. I'll put this right here, and you can see me scrolling through doing some research on it. It is a bean pot, probably early 1900s, and this is in really good shape. I don't see any cracks, or there is a little crack in the lid. What I did find out when I was in ChatGPT, they said that it probably wasn't the original lid because it's a little bit of a different color, which is curious. I've never really thought about that. So that might change the worth of it a little bit. It's still gorgeous. And I might make beans in it. I might just put it in my kitchen on display. But it's beautiful. And I love when we can find things like this when we're out thrifting. When I'm out thrifting, I'm always on the lookout for little tiny trinket dishes. Look how adorable this is. These are great to find, and plus this was 25 cents. How can you not leave it? These are great for putting by the kitchen sink to put your rings in, or by a nightside table, or in your bathroom to hold your earrings in. Always keep your eye out for these little cutie little trinket dishes. I always love to buy the weird. This was definitely weird, and there's a little bit of a story behind this. This particular thrift store I have been in 3 times, and these have been sitting on the shelf, and every time I walk by them, I'm like, I need these. Second time, I need these. Third time, I'm like, just buy the darn things. So and they had a 50% off sale that day. So they were $9.99. So I got them for $5, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to use them. And I think they're going to look beautiful. I always have a basket full of faux flowers and plants. And I thought this would work out really well. Stuffing these full of some faux plants that I have. I've got some ivy, some spider plants. I'm just going to kind of fool around with them just so they look nice, kind of make it drape down. There's always all kinds of faux flowers at the thrift store. Bring them home, wash them, dust them up, and they're great to stick in little corners of your room where you don't get a lot of sunlight. And I have a perfect spot in one of my bedrooms that I think this is going to work really well. So let's go hang these up. I'm always drawn to any art that has that is an original. Oil paintings, watercolors. In this case, I think it's an oil pastel color painting. And I always grab them because I always go back to how much work would have went into it. And I try to think of what the artist would have looked like. I always do research to see if they're worth anything. I have done the research on this one. It looks like it's Isabel something, 1952. So it is gorgeous. I have a perfect spot for it to just be displayed. And I think it was $5. So how can you leave that at the thrift store when it's a beautiful one-of-a-kind piece? I grabbed it and brought it home with me. Another oil painting, another happy dance. This is gorgeous. The landscaping on it is definitely oil painting, probably from the 50s or the 60s. Now, the one thing that I have noticed with it is it's kind of got that yellow faded kind of tinge to it. And what is really common with these types of oil paintings from that era is the varnish. And the varnish over time, even just from pollutants in the house, maybe cigarette smoke or air quality. And over time, I think, like I'm not an expert, so quote me, don't quote me. Maybe down in the comments, if you are an expert, you can maybe guide us along a little bit better. But the varnish in this oil painting has kind of yellowed. I don't mind it. I actually think that it gives it character. And I'm going to leave it as is because it's not one of those things where you want to kind of venture in and try to clean it because I think you would end up wrecking the oil painting. So it was only $5. The frame is gorgeous. The painting is beautiful. I've got the perfect spot for it in my home. Do you know what makes a perfect day when you're out thrifting? Is finding a homemade pottery mug. I kind of have started a collection of these and I've got some real beautiful ones. So when I found this for $3.99, the colors are amazing. Look at the drips in them. I love it. I grabbed it. I also had a coupon, so we had 20% off of $3.99. You can't beat that deal for a handmade pottery mug. Okay, this was on my wish list. I remember these in our home when I was a kid. And they just don't make them that ornate anymore. The outlet covers and the switch plate covers. And my house has not been switched to the square ones. So they still have the older style switch plates and electrical outlets. And they're boring, they're ivory, they're ugly. And I've been on the lookout for these forever. I grabbed these. I didn't even open them up. I just grabbed them and ran. This package was $5.99. This one was $3.99. If you have ever priced electrical outlet covers, they are so expensive if you want fancy ones. So let's open these up together and see what we got. I can't wait to put these in my home. We've got a switch plate. Oh, look at this one. These are a little bit different. I can use these too. These are beautiful. Okay, good score, $3.99. Oh, this one was already kind of open. Let's see what we got in here. We've got electrical outlet. Oh, the double ones. double switch plates, and another electrical outlet. I have a spot for every one of these. This adorable candle I found. I know it's from the 70s. They were so popular. I picked it up because I'm going to add it to my Christmas decor. It was $2.49. The little holly elf is so cute. These were called beaded glass candles or sugar candles. And basically what they were little plastic glass balls or plastic and rolled in plastic or rolled in like a Mod Podge or a glue on the outside to create kind of that frosted glass look. So adorable. This one's kind of chipped around the top. It's not really worth anything. I just picked it up because I thought it was so cute and it's going to look cute nestled into my Christmas decor. Really cute set of salt and pepper shakers, but the tops have kind of discolored a little bit, so they're great for upcycling. You want to make sure when you're doing projects like this to do some research first, because we don't want to be altering some salt and pepper shakers that maybe might be worth a little bit of money. And there are some out there that are, so just be careful before you upcycle anything or alter it to make sure that you're not ruining something that's worth some cash. So we're just going to remove the tops off of both of these. We're going to do the little purple one first. Here's a really clever idea. I picked this up at the dollar store. It's a reed diffuser, and you can use this little salt and pepper shaker as a reed diffuser container. This comes with the scent, and you can just pour it. Why do I always do this and not do this when I'm off camera? And then you guys have to watch me struggle while I try to open these and do a DIY project. But that's good. It had a little top in there so it didn't spill. We're going to pour that oil in the salt and pepper shaker. Add our reeds. And tuck it in a corner where you want to have some nice scent go throughout your room. Now, here's another really clever idea. Again, we just took the top off, and I've got some little cotton pads, and we're just going to get some essential oil, and we're going to put some on that cotton pad. Got some beautiful smelling lavender. Stick it in the salt and pepper shaker. Put the lid back on and place this in a room somewhere where you want to have some nice scent from the essential oil. What I love doing with it is putting it in my truck, and I'll put it in one of the drink holders in the back seat, and it just makes your truck smell nice and fresh, and it looks pretty too. This is a really cheap teapot that I see all the time in thrift stores, and they were usually used in a cafe or a restaurant, and we're going to transform it into something really cute. The first thing that I think I want to do is I want to take this lid off. It's just on a simple little hinge, and I think if I get a pair of pliers, I can pull it off. We're going to see if we can. Okay, the lid actually came off quite easy. There was just like a little pin here, and we just had to pull it open, and now it's nice and flat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint this with a flat black spray paint, and then we're gonna do a image transfer onto a piece of fabric, and put it on this teapot. It's gonna have a real kind of primitive country look when we're all finished. Now, while we're waiting for that black paint to dry, we're gonna do an image transfer onto fabric. I have a piece of cotton and I have an image that's in my graphic club. Very primitive kind of country feel. If you are a member, you can go and you can grab it right now and you can craft with it. Or if you want to join, the link will be down below in the description. We add graphics every week. There's so many fantastic ones. And I printed this off on a label sheet. This is a really fun transfer method. You can use old CD labels, address labels, anything that's got that shiny paper underneath. You can print on it. Now, I have printed this off on my laser printer. I find that works the best. You can use an inkjet printer, but it has a tendency to kind of want to smear a little bit, so you have to be really careful if you're using that method. And where you don't want to touch it, you don't want to rub any of that toner off. So we're just going to, let's find a spot so we don't waste a lot of fabric. We're just going to cut a piece a little bit bigger than that graphic. Now we're going to use our Mod Podge mat, and you want to put the Mod Podge right on the fabric, and you want to use a fabric that's going to be absorbent and it's going to take on that Mod Podge and soak into it, because we want it to grab onto that fabric and also grab onto the graphic so we can do a really good transfer. And that looks about right. We're going to take our graphic, being very careful. And I have reversed this graphic. You want to make sure that you're reversing the text. If not, when you lay it down, your words are going to be backwards. We're going to set that right where we want it. Just very gently pat it down into that wet Mod Podge. You don't want that Mod Podge to dry. And then I like to use my brayer and just lightly go over that image. And then you want to set it aside and you want to let it dry. It'll probably take about an hour. So we'll be back. If you find that the transfer isn't working all that well, you can always take an iron and set it on low heat and just press it just a little bit. That's going to make the toner adhere to the fabric better. Now here is the magic. We're going to peel off that label paper, and your image is going to be transferred to the fabric, and it's nice and it's crisp. And how cool is that? Now you might have bits and pieces that don't transfer all that well, but I think it just gives it some character. And then we're just gonna trim around the edges. Now I want to see if I can get a little bit of a frayed edge. I'm not sure if I can because of the Mod Podge. But yeah, I can a little bit. So I'm just going to fray the edge a little bit just to make it look like it's an old label. Just so it doesn't look so perfect. Okay, let's go grab our teapot and put this on it. Our teapot's all dry. Our image is ready to put on the teapot, and we're just going to do it with some Mod Podge. And again, this is just for decor. It's not going to be a usable teapot after this, but it's a really cute gift. We're just going to get that Mod Podge right out to the edge. And then let's just apply it to our teapot. We're going to do an image transfer, and And in order to have a really good image transfer, you can't use a smooth surface. So we're gonna do some painting on this. First, we're going to spray it with some primer, and then we're gonna go in with our homemade chalk paint. Our primer is all dry. Now we're gonna go in with our homemade chalk paint. If you have not seen my video on how to paint glass or ceramic and have no peeling, no chipping, you need to watch that video. I'll put the QR code right here and also a link down below in the description. It'll save you from messing up a project and having the paint peel off after you've put in all that time and effort. I also have tweaked my favorite chalk paint recipe. And this stuff is smooth, it dries rock hard, and it is fantastic. And I also have a video on that. I'll put a QR code right here and also down in the description. Try this recipe. It's a little bit of a tweak from the old standby recipe, and I like it more. It's really goes on nice and smooth. And I find sometimes with the chalk paint, that's the main drawback, is it's a little bit gritty and it's a little bit textured. This is not, and it doesn't budge when you put it on your DIY projects. We've almost got one coat on here, and I'm probably going to put 2 coats on this to make sure that I have really good coverage for the transfer. So we will see you back when this is all dry. Our chalk paint's all dry. We're going to do a Mod Podge reverse transfer on this little teapot. I have done all kinds of these transfers on my channel. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a really great way to take a graphic and put it on a DIY project that's super simple. All you need is some Mod Podge and a graphic printed off on just regular computer paper. It does work best with a laser printer, but if you're patient, you can have it work with an inkjet printer also. We're just gonna cut down the little graphic that I designed. It just says, "Be thankful," and it is available in my Etsy store. I also have it in our graphic club. So if you are a member, you can go over and you can grab this graphic right away. And I'll put the link to both my Etsy store and the graphic club down below in the description. Now we want to kind of trim this right up, kind of tight, because we're going around a circle. It's not a flat surface. So the more paper that we can remove and let it lie flat, the better transfer that we're going to have. Here's our little graphic. We're going to take our Mod Podge. This is Mod Podge matte. I find that it works the best for this type of a transfer. If you're using glossy, when you do your image transfer, it's gonna have a glossy finish, and I just find that it doesn't blend in very well. And the trick with this is, number 1, don't get it all over your table. Number 2, to not put very much on. You don't need very much. Just a light coat does the trick. And you wanna make sure you get right out to the ends. And then we're just going to take our graphic and we're going to place it right on the teapot where we want it. You have to make sure that you have reversed your text. If not, when you put it on, your words are going to be backwards, and we don't want that to happen. So reverse your text. You can do that in Canva, or you can do it in a Word program. There we go. So now the trick is just to set this aside, and you have to let it completely dry. A lot of times when I'm doing projects like this, I'm going to let them sit for 24 hours, and then we're going to come back and we're going to rub off the paper, and we're going to have a graphic on our teapot. Okay, we're back to rub the paper off of our teapot. I just have a little dish with a sponge and water, and you just want to dab that paper until the graphic just starts to show through. You don't want to put on too much water or it's going to lift the paint underneath. So just add a little bit, and then you're just going to take your finger and you're just going to start to rub away the paper. And as you do, the paper magically comes off and your graphic is left on your project. Just go slow. Don't use a lot of water. And sometimes this takes a little practice, but once you master it, it works fantastic. This also works best on a white painted surface. If you're trying to do this on a colored surface underneath, sometimes you're going to see the outline of the graphic because the Mod Podge does have a bit of a white color to it. So if you're doing something like this, plan on painting your project white and it works much better. And just keep rubbing off that paper. You will know when you're done because you won't feel any paper rolling up underneath your fingers. If it gets a little bit of dryness, just dip your finger back in the water and keep rubbing. That feels pretty good. I think we've got all of the paper off. Now what you want to do is you want to seal it up. I am going to use a spray polyacrylic sealer to spray this whole teapot. So it's water resistant, but it's not waterproof. And it's just going to give a nice sheen to your project and make it look more professional. And it doesn't get much cuter than this. I've got some clippings from a pothos plant that I'm putting in this. And this also makes a really great gift for someone. Now, this isn't going to be food safe now that we've painted it, but it definitely is a really beautiful piece of home decor just using a teapot that we found at the thrift store. Thrift stores are always so full of so many sizes of different frames. So I always keep an eye out for the smaller ones because this is a really pretty upcycle. I went in and I printed off one of my favorite photos of my 2 grandkids from not that long ago. And we're just gonna cut it out. I just did this on my inkjet printer on some photo paper. We're going to take the back off. We're going to remove this part here. We don't need that. And you should be able to just kind of wiggle it back and forth and it will pull off. We don't want to rip it, so we just want to, oh my goodness, why does this, these rip off so easy when you don't want them to. There we go. And when you want them to, they take their sweet time pulling off. So there we go. We got them off. We're going to put our beautiful little picture in our frame. I didn't grab any tape. 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, we're just going to use a little bit of packing tape. Tape that in the frame. Make sure it stays exactly where we want it. And I love these frames to put on the fridge because you can always change out the photos with different seasons and when you have another one that you love. Then we're just going to stick everything back. And here is the fun part, the special part. Get some magnets. I grabbed these off of Amazon. I always have some laying around. These have a sticky back, so you can just stick them right on the back of the frame. I like to use more than one because we don't want this falling off. We're going to put one in each corner. Take it, stick it up on your fridge, and you have a beautiful photo to display. I found this beautiful ornate frame, and I have an old dictionary that I found quite a while ago at the thrift store. And I don't know what it is about these old books, but I just love the text in them and the look of them, and I love to frame them. So I'm going to take one of these pages. This dictionary has lost all kinds of pages. I've been adding it in my junk journal, but I'm going to take one of these pages and I'm just going to frame it. And they look beautiful in a frame. We're just going to cut it down to size. I'll be back as soon as I get it cut out. Okay, we are back. We're just going to put our print from our page Oh my goodness, I didn't do a very good job cutting this out. What the heck did I do here? Let's just do a little bit more. There we go. We're just going to frame it up, put it in our decor, and it's gorgeous. You can also look for old magazines or pages out of kids' books, or what about even sewing patterns. So many possibilities with a little DIY like this, but I think it's just beautiful having that framed picture from the dictionary. Do you have a bunch of candles that you've put together in a vignette and you want to display them, but you're kind of worried about the wax maybe dripping on your table? This is a really great way to keep all these candles contained on the glass and make it beautiful. So I just picked up this frame. We're going to remove the backing. Take the print out, we'll leave the glass in, and I picked out this beautiful piece of scrapbooking paper. We're going to cut it the same size as the backing. While you're watching this video, I bet you have your head swirling on all the different ways that you can upcycle these picture frames into different ways other than just using them for pictures. I know when I was putting all these together, when I went to the thrift store, I was so overwhelmed because there were so many beautiful picture frames to choose from, and always a really great selection. Okay, we're going to put that in there. We're going to put the back on. We'll save this maybe for another project, and I'll be back when I have this all put together. Now, once I put this all together, I tested a little corner off camera with some gold rub and buff, and that's exactly what this frame needs. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of the rub and buff. You don't need very much, it goes a long way on the frame. I think it's just gonna pull together that scrapbooking paper that we put in there. I just have a brush. We just brush it on. If you've never used Rub and Buff, it is an amazing product. So fun to use. I even have a DIY on how to make your own DIY Rub and Buff if you can't get any at a craft store. I'll put the QR code right here to that video and you can watch that afterwards and make your own. But this is really blending in really nice with that scrapbooking paper. So I'm just gonna add the Rub and Buff all over this frame, and then I'm gonna display it with some candles and show you how beautiful it is. I always find candlesticks at the thrift store, dime a dozen, but I have too many of them. So when I saw this one, I was automatically thinking of being able to use it in a different way. This was $3.99. It was 25% off. And it's a homemade piece. It's marked. I'm a sucker for homemade pottery. So we're going to take the price tag off of this, clean it up, and we will be back. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to use it for. When I found this glass teapot, I knew exactly what I wanted to turn it into. We're going to turn it into a candle holder, but I want it up a bit on a bit of a pedestal. So I also picked up this glass candle holder. We are going to use some E6000. I have a love-hate relationship with E6000. Love the product, dislike the packaging. It is horrible to get it out of this tube, but it does work well once you get it figured out. And we're just gonna put it around the rim here. And then I'm gonna take, because we want it to be sturdy, I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm just going to put a couple dabs of that hot glue, just maybe one here and one here, just to hold it in place while we wait for that E6000 to dry. And we're going to take our teapot and we're going to center it right in. We're going to take the lid off here. I'm going to center it right in the middle. And then we're going to set it aside and we're going to let it dry overnight before we make it into a candle. So we'll be back in a bit. To turn this into a candle, I picked this candle up at the thrift store and we're just going to melt it down. I have a pot of hot water we're heating up and I'm just using a tin can. Actually, before we put this in the water, what I like to do with these tin cans, I like to just squeeze them a little bit, give them a little bit of a spout. So when we're pouring out the wax, it goes easier. And we're just going to put the candle in here and we're going to let that hot water do its magic and melt that wax. And then we're going to put it in the teapot. We're boiling away and that candle is melting. We're almost there. It takes a few minutes and this is a really thick candle. So just be really careful. You got some hot wax going on here. And I love using a little saucepan, putting a tin can in it. It keeps it all in one spot and you're not ruining a pot. And we always have lots of tin cans that we can upcycle and use for this project. Our candle's completely melted now, and we also have the wick in there. We're going to reuse that wick, so I'm going to pull that out. We're going to take our saucepan off our burner. Be really careful. And we're going to take our wick, and I've got a wooden skewer. I'm just going to wrap it around a couple times. And just kind of, we want that wick to just be touching the bottom of that glass. So I'm just rolling it along that skewer until it's the right length. I think that looks perfect. Now we're going to take this tin can. And this is where that spout comes in really handy. It makes it really easy to pour. I'm going to be really careful with that hot wax and just gently pour it in to our teapot. And the nice thing about this little teapot is you can see through it, so you can see the candle. We're going to make sure we've got our wick exactly where we want it, right in the middle. We're going to set this aside and we're going to let it harden up. How gorgeous is this? It's all set up. We just have to cut our wick and put it in a special spot to light it and enjoy it. This is a vinegar decanter, and it was 49 cents, which was a great deal, but I don't use a lot of wine vinegar, so I was trying to figure out how I could use it in a different way, and I think you're gonna really love this upcycle. It's very unique, very different. Let's get the price tag off and clean it up. We'll be back. I like burning incense every once in a while instead of a candle. And this is such a great way to display it. You're going to take your incense. You're going to cut it down a little bit if it's a bit too long. And then you want to get a key ring. And you're going to put your incense. Let me just make sure that this is going to fit. Yep. We're going to get your key. Oh, this smells so good. This one is white sage. It smells so nice. We're going to put that through the ring twice, if I can see. Oh my goodness, get through there. There we go. Can you see what I've done there? I've put it through. We're going to put it in our bottle. You want it so it doesn't touch the bottom. You just kind of want it suspended there. We're going to light it. Let it burn for a second. Blow it out. Put it in our decanter. And how beautiful is that to burn your incense? All the ash is going to stay in the bottom. We've used a beautiful decanter to do it. Really fun way to use something in a different purpose than what it was meant for. Another great way to upcycle teapots is to turn them into a little Kleenex holder. This teapot is gorgeous. I love the design on it, and I didn't want to alter it in any way. So I went upstairs to my bathroom. I got a box of Kleenex, and this isn't going to fit a whole box of Kleenex, but you can take a stack of them and just fold it up, put it in the teapot, pull out your Kleenex, and display it in the kitchen. How clever is that? When I'm at the thrift store, I always take the time and go through the costume jewelry. I love finding brooches or pendants, or in this case, a little pair of earrings that were $2.99 and they were 50% off. And I love not using them for that intended purpose. We're going to take them out of the little baggie here. And it's got the earring post on them. So we're just going to use a pair of pliers. We're going to snip them off. They come off really easy. And then I always have magnets in my craft room. I picked these up on Amazon. There was 100 of them and they go a long way. I'll put a link to those down below in the description. You should grab some. You can do some really great DIYs just with a few magnets. And then I just take my hot glue gun and stay up there. Don't you go. There we go. We're going to just put some hot glue on the back of that earring. Press this down in. We'll do the other one too. We'll put some hot glue on. And press a magnet in. If you are looking for a fantastic hot glue gun, this is a phenomenal hot glue gun. I love that it's cordless. It's made by Surebonder, and it's got the nice little stand with the little silicone pad if it drips a little bit. 100% recommend it. So I'll put the link to that down below if you are in the market for a new hot glue gun. And we've created cute little magnets for our fridge. Really affordably. They're beautiful. They don't look like those cheap dollar store ones. So I know after you see this clever upcycle, you're going to be going right to the thrift store and going to the costume jewelry and seeing what you can turn into magnets. Another great way to upcycle teapots is to use them as a planter. I really love this one with the speckled white on it. And I don't want to drill a hole in it for drainage if someday I want to start using it as a teapot. But I found this little plant at our local greenhouse down the road. It's a gorgeous succulent. And instead of planting soil in this and putting some drainage in it, we're going to keep it in the original pot. This one's kind of tight. So I'm just going to go in with my scissors and I'm just going to cut down the pot just a little bit on 4 sides. This is going to keep all of the soil intact, but it's going to allow that pot to slip down into, this one's a little bit, there we go. It will allow it to slip down into that teapot a little bit further, so we don't have to plant it right in the teapot. We can squish it in. So that's a little hack. You can cut those little plastic pots to fit down snugger into your teapot. I love this. This is going to find a spot right in my kitchen. I was so excited when I found this. I've actually been looking for one for quite a while, and I was inspired by Instagram. I saw an account, and I can't remember who it was because I would give them credit, but I can't remember. They found one of these and they turned it into a propagation station. Now, I don't know if these are meant for wine bottles. They seem kind of low, but look for glasses that will fit inside. So I found 3 of these beautiful glasses for 99 cents a piece, and they fit right in here. And 99 cents just even for drinking glasses. And these are really good quality heavy ones is a great deal too. So all of my drinking glasses I picked up at the thrift store. And then we're just going to fill them up with water. There we go. Now I got sticky tape all over my fingers. You think some of these things I would do off camera and just tell you they were 99 cents, but I do like to prove that I only paid 99 cents for these glasses, and then you have to watch me struggle taking these stickers off. You just fill them up with water. And we are going to propagate some plants that I had in my house already. We're going to make free plants. And how cute is this in this little caddy? Just stick them in the water, put them in a nice sunny spot in your house, and watch them grow roots. And it's so pretty. Got some ivy here. We'll stick in. So be on the lookout for a little caddy like this at the thrift store. Whoever made this did a beautiful job. You can see the little flower accent on it. What I'm going to use it for is I have some water. We're going to pour the water in the base of it. And I've got a paintbrush holder where when we are painting, we can dip it in our paint on our project, and then clean it off in the water, and then stick it in there and let it dry. The nice thing about this upcycle is also we're not going to be changing the candlestick. So later on, if I decide that I want to put a candle in it, more than happy to be able to do that. When I saw this crock, I knew I had to have it. It's gorgeous. And it has a half stamped into it. There's no other markings. Oh, there might be a little marking on the bottom, but it's kind of worn. It might just be a piece that's kind of worn off. If anybody has any idea of what this would have originally been used for, I am going to put one of my plants in it, and I think it's going to look gorgeous. This was $9.99, so it was a bit more expensive, but it's an antique crock, so I think it was definitely worth it. I fell in love with this little lampshade, very retro, probably 50s or 60s, so tiny and so cute. I want to keep it as a lampshade, but I was trying to figure out how can I do this a little bit different with something that I already have in my house? And I came across this candlestick holder, and it's so easy to turn it into a little lamp. You can find these on Amazon, and they're rechargeable light bulbs. Oh, I just hit the light. You can see how it comes off and on. You can change the settings, and it fits right in there. The shade goes on. It comes with a little remote. We can turn it on, and it's got some different settings. A warm light, a cool light. How cool is that? So we are using a candlestick holder that was meant for candles, and we've turned it into a little mini lamp with a rechargeable light bulb. These are fantastic, and I'll put the link for those light bulbs down below in the description if you want to pick one of these up yourself. If you have some candlesticks and the hole is not quite big enough, you can just get a drill and drill it out, make it a little bit bigger. This one was perfect. It fit right in. How adorable is that? Finding teapots at the thrift store is really easy. I always see them all the time. And one of the easiest ways to upcycle these is to turn them into a flower arrangement. They make absolutely beautiful gifts for Mother's Day, birthday. If you find seasonal teapots for Christmas, you can add some floral foam. Now, this stuff I just picked up at the dollar store. It's really affordable. It's $2. And you want to just take your foam and cut it to fit the inside of your teapot. You can just use a knife or a utility knife, and because the opening is a little bit smaller than the base, just cut it to size and stick them in there. And it's gonna fit in there nicely and be a nice base for those flowers. And it's also going to hold water, so your flowers will stay fresher longer. I'm going to cut one more little piece here to sneak down in. Now you want to take this to your kitchen sink and wet this so it's nice and moist so we can put our fresh flowers in it. I've taken this to my kitchen sink and the floral form is nice and wet. If you put too much water on, of course, you can just pour it out the spout. I went to my grocery store. I picked up a beautiful bunch of fresh flowers. You can also just go to your yard if it's spring or summer and pick some fresh flowers from there. And you're gonna summon your inner florist and just start putting them in there however you think they're going to look the nicest. You can move them around if you need to. And that's really beautiful. And I think this would be a perfect gift. And it's affordable. You can usually pick these teapots up for a couple bucks a piece. Grab some fresh flowers or head out to your backyard if it's spring or summer and pick some and put together a floral arrangement with a teapot. Okay, there's a little bit of a story to this. When I was in the thrift store, I fell in love with it. It is an original, but the mat is really kind of water stained and not that great a shape. The frame is a little bit chipped up. So I asked the lady how much it was, and she picked it up and she said, oh, because there's some water damage, you can just take it for free. And I'm like, that's really generous. Thank you so much, because I'm going to upcycle it and make it beautiful again. And she said, then just take it. It's free. So I brought it home and I Google searched it because I wanted to find out if I could find out more about the artist. I took a photo of the signature here and of the painting, and I couldn't find anything. So I'm definitely going to be really careful with the actual original painting because I don't want to damage it. I do want to fix up the frame and the mat. So I am going to take it apart. It is already ripped on the back. So I'm just going to remove that and take the painting out. And I might actually see, maybe there's something written on the back of the painting. So let's take this out and see if we can find any more information on it. Okay, I've got all of the paper backing off and the staples off. We're going to do this together. I have not looked at it yet. Let's see what's underneath. We have a piece of cardboard. Oh, it looks like canvas. And there's 4 stains in each corner, which kind of makes me feel like it might have been mounted a little bit differently, or maybe that's the water stain. That's probably the water stains maybe on from the mat, but there's no markings on it. There's nothing. We're going to remove it off of this. It's really stuck. I'm just trying to be really careful with it because I don't know if it's worth anything. And I want to do more research on this. If there's anybody out there that is, has a lot of knowledge in this kind of stuff, I'll put a real close up of the signature here and of the actual painting. Let me know down in the comments if you have any idea of who it could be and whether it's worth anything. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to fix this up though and make it look nice and put it all back together because I think it will look really beautiful in a gallery wall in my house. So I've just got some acrylic paint. It's called Antique White. I think it's going to complement the mat really nicely in the painting. And this is a great way to upcycle those pictures that you find at the thrift store that are really dated. You can just remove that mat, paint it, and put it back in and have it match your decor. So I'm going to work away at this. And I think I'm also going to go in and paint the picture frame. I think I'm going to do it in black. We'll be back when I have everything refreshed and painted. I already love this and I haven't put it back together again. The black frame, the antique white mat. We're going to just tape this back on. And I'm going to continue doing some research and see if I can find out anything about this artist or the painting, because it is so beautiful. I'm excited to put it on a gallery wall. Oh, that looks so much better. Let's put it in the frame. We'll put in the cardboard and we'll put the staples back in. Do you love crafting with glitter, but hate the little containers that they come with? And sometimes the holes are too small or they're too big. Grab a salt pepper shaker. And this is an old one that I think you used to see these a lot in restaurants. Take the lid off and get your glitter. Pour it in the salt and pepper shaker. Now I want to mix these two together. I've got some pink and I've got some purple. We're going to put the lid back on and give it a really good shake. Now you have a nice and tidy way to dispense your glitter evenly And we've mixed those two colors together. That's made a gorgeous color. So this is a really clever way to upcycle some salt and pepper shakers. I love repurposing napkin holders. This one was 99 cents. It's brand new. It still has the tag on it. Whoever bought this never even used it. We're gonna cut it off. And I love using these up in my kitchen. It's a great way to display a cookbook where you have a recipe and you want to be able to see it, but it's standing up on your counter. Or it's really great for putting a tablet in. If you're looking up your recipes, you can put the tablet in here and you can see it as you cook or bake away. And it's a pretty little way to keep them up and nice off your counter. This lamp is absolutely gorgeous. I actually didn't find it at a thrift store. I found it at a yard sale and they wanted $5 for it. It is beautiful. I have this little corner in our bedroom. It's a work in progress. I want to do a gallery wall. I need to get some nice pillows and a blanket here for the couch. But I was looking for a little lamp that I could put right here that was going to kind of fit in with it all. And this was brought to me. It needs some TLC. It needs a good cleaning, but nothing that I don't think a little bit of rub and buff can make beautiful. So everything that has metal, I'm going to put some rub and buff on. I'm going to clean up the glass pieces, and I have the perfect spot for it right here. This light is unbelievably beautiful, but the base is tarnished quite a bit. So I'm going to try, I'm not sure if I can get it down nice and smooth, but I'm going to use some cleaner. And then we're going to go in with some steel wool and see if we can smooth it out some. It's dusty and dirty. It looks like it's probably been in somebody's garage or barn for quite a long time. Let's just see if we can get it smoothed down with some steel wool. This is 0000 steel wool. You don't want anything abrasive when you're trying to do something like this because it will scratch it. This is just probably a brass plated base. It's not solid brass, so it wouldn't take very much to scratch right through that brass, and we don't want that to happen. So we're just going to lightly just go over it with this steel wool. And actually it's working. I can feel it kind of knocking some of that down. So I'm just going to work away at this, just really gently, just kind of scrubbing it and preparing it for some beautiful rub and buff. Okay, I've got it cleaned pretty good. There are still a few little raised spots here and there, but it's as smooth as I can get it. And I've just wiped it off. And now we're going to go in with some rub and buff. If you've not used rub and buff, what a fantastic product. And a little bit goes a long way. Now, the one that I'm going to be using is called Antique Gold. And I just have a little cloth, and you just put it on the cloth, just a little bit, and just start to rub it on. And it's going to transform that tarnished look into something that's much more newer looking and more even. The rub and buff comes in quite a few different colors. So if you have a chance, head to Amazon or head to your craft store and see if they have any and give this product a try. It's really easy. You just rub and buff and put it on. So I'm going to apply this to the whole base, and I'll be back when it's all finished. Okay, I've got it all coated. It looks pretty good. It's not perfectly smooth, but it definitely looks better than it did before. So we're going to take it back up to the bedroom, and we're going to see how it looks in the little corner beside our little sitting couch. These are a dime a dozen at the thrift store, and they're just little cutouts in a piece of pottery, and you can put your votive in it or your little candle, and it's going to sparkle through. I love finding ones that are going to match my decor and use them in ways that is not meant for a candle. But sometimes I get stumped trying to think about, what can I put that in? What can I use it for? So here's a little trick of what I do. I love to head to ChatGPT. I will take a picture of the object, which would be this, and I would say, can you tell me what else I can use this for other than just as a candle holder? I'm thinking about maybe using it in my kitchen. And it's going to generate some really unique ideas that you probably never thought about that you can upcycle little pieces like this with. So let's do that and let's see what it tells us. Okay, we're in ChatGPT. We're going to take a picture. And then we're going to, I like doing talk to text. It's really easy. This is a little container that I found at the thrift store. It's made for a votive candle, but I'd like to use it in my kitchen. Can you give me some ideas of what I can put in it that are clever and we probably would never think about? And hit send, and let's let it generate. And it's going to tell you unusual scroll stopping ways to use it in your kitchen. Now, I thought about this. A garlic keeper, wonderful idea. Mini utensils, cinnamon stick diffuser, tea bag retiree, where you can put your used tea bags, salt cellar. But the only thing is, well, you could probably put a little bit of salt in it, but dishwasher pod holder, kitchen sponge holder, herb saver, lemon pits, kitchen scraps, compost, coffee bar stir stick holder. And it says there's a bonus, a mini wish pot. Write down recipes you want to try and roll them up, put them in here. And when you're feeling inspired and you want to cook, you can pull one out and it has a recipe. Great idea to find some inspiration for your next upcycle if you're not quite sure what to do with it. Another really clever way to upcycle a teapot is to hold yarn, ribbon, string, and it's really easy. I just took some painter's tape and I just put a little bit on the end of my twine that I have here and just feed it through the spout. And you're gonna keep your twine ball in the teapot and you're gonna be able to pull it out and not have it get tangled. This is great for anyone that knits or crochets or just to keep all of your ribbons nice and neat and tidy. So that's one reason why you should pick up a teapot at the thrift store. This is going to be the cutest upcycle. I'm going to turn this teapot into a wind chime. What you're going to need is you're going to need a teapot, you're going to need some cutlery. I just picked up some spoons, and you're going to need a little plate, but you want to have the perforated edge on it so we can hang our chimes for them. I found this at the dollar store. It was $4.99, and we are going to glue the plate onto the bottom of the teapot. Now you want to make sure that it's running down, so if it rains, the rain will flow off of that little plate. We're going to use our E6000. And like I said before, love-hate relationship with this. It works fantastic, but it is a pain to get it out of the tube. If anybody has a better product that they like to use, just let me know down in the comments, because I am open to trying something different that works better. And also, while I'm doing this, have you subscribed to my newsletter? I have a fantastic newsletter that goes out a couple times a week, and it's full of inspiration, DIY tips and tricks. And there's also free graphics every week that you can download and you can use on your crafting projects. So if you haven't signed up, we would love to have you over there. You can click this QR code right here, and we'll also have all the information down below in the description. Okay, we've got this E6000 flowing now, and we're going to take our plate, We're gonna, oh, I didn't take this price tag off here. Let's take that off first. There we go. And we're gonna center our teapot right in the middle. And then we're gonna set it aside and let it dry completely. We're gonna drill some holes in spoons. I just picked up a handful at the thrift store and I just put them on the table and I got looking through them and look at this spoon. I'm not gonna drill through this one because I'm gonna do some research on it. I'm not quite sure why it's shaped like this, and it definitely is silver. That one's not getting drilled through. We're gonna put this one aside. I'll let you know what I find about it. So these you just wanna turn upside down. I have a block of wood and set your spoon in it, and I've just got a drill bit in here that does wood and metal. We're just going to find a center spot and just start drilling. It takes a little bit of pressure, but it doesn't take very long to get through this spoon. And we've drilled a hole through the spoon, and as you can see, it works great. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna drill holes in the rest of these spoons. The bottom base has dried on the teapot, so now we're gonna work away at stringing some beads on these spoons that we drilled the holes in. I got a stash of beads that I've had for years when I went through my jewelry craze, and I have some fishing line that's just gonna be weather resistant and it's gonna hold up if it's gonna be outside. And we're just gonna cut a length and start stringing some beads on these. I've got two that are done already, and I'm just kind of doing them in the same order, color coordinated, so they look really nice. We're just going to string the fishing line through that spoon, and I like to tie about 3 knots because then we know that it's going to stay on there nice and secure. Perfect. Now we can get putting our beads on. Okay, we've got one done. I'm gonna work away on the other ones and we'll be back when they're all put together. I got all the beads on the spoon. They're really cute. And now we're just going to go through the little holes that we have on this plate. So that's why it was important when I was out thrifting to look for a plate that had holes in it or little spots where we can kind of put through that fishing line. And then we're just gonna tie a knot and we're gonna hang those spoons from that plate. And the fishing line we'll just tie in 2 or 3 knots to make sure that it's nice and secure. And we're gonna evenly space those spoons out around the plate like this. Trim off the edges and I'll show you when it's all finished. We'll take it outside and we'll hang it up. Now there's probably lots of different ways that you can hang this, but I think I'm going to use some wire. I had some in my stash. You could use twine, you could use some chain if you had some, but I'm just going to push this wire through the teapot and make a twist on the end so it's not going to come through that spout. You can just twist it up and make a few so it's not going to come through. And as you can see, the teapot has little holes in there. I don't know if you can see in the camera or not, but that's going to keep the wire from coming through. And then we're just going to loop it around and attach it onto the handle. And again, we're going to go around maybe a couple times. And then just wrap the wire around the top. And that's gonna be really sturdy and it's not gonna break and fall out of whatever you're hanging it on. And I think I'm also going to glue the lid on too with some E6000. So if it does get windy, it's not going to fly off and break. But we've got all of our spoons attached. How adorable is that? Let's head outside and hang this up. These are two things that I love to upcycle, but I never use them for the intended purpose. I always look for little glass bowls or trinket dishes because they make really great catchers for planters. And I love picking up mugs. This one is beautiful. It's an old ceramic mug, but I have too many. How many mugs do you actually need? But I always am looking for little planters that I've propagated some little clippings from my plants. So this was 99 cents. This was $1.99. I'm going to drill a drain hole in the bottom of this. I have a full tutorial on how to drill into ceramic and glass. I'll put the QR code right here. It's really simple once you get the hang of it. And you can turn almost anything that's glass or ceramic into a planter and put drainage holes or turn them into a lamps with this technique. So I'm going to drill a hole in the bottom of this. We are going to take these two pieces and turn them into a beautiful planter. And it's a fraction of a cost of what you would pay for a planter. And it's prettier in my opinion. I put two little holes in the bottom, so we've got some good drainage. I've got a beautiful plant. We are going to incorporate all three of these together and make a beautiful piece of home decor and using it with what it wasn't intended to be used for. Check out this little brass swan that I found. It was regular $6 and I got it for $3. It was half price. And I think it's going to be really great to either put in the bathroom right beside the sink. If you're going to wash your hands, you can keep your rings or your jewelry in it, or on a nightstand and you can keep your jewelry in it on the nightstand. But this is so cute and I grabbed it right away. I did a video on how to upcycle teapots. If you haven't seen that video, there's so much inspiration there. Click the link right here after you watch this video and check that one out. But I went in the comments and I was asking for a way that you guys use E6000 and don't have any problems with it. It's so hard to squeeze out of the tube. Overwhelming response, and I got some really great tips. The first one is to use a toothpaste tube key and push all of the E6000 up to the top. Game changer. You can pick these up at the dollar store. It worked fantastic. The other thing was the lid getting stuck on and off. Mineral oil. Use a little bit of mineral oil or Vaseline. Just put a little bit on your finger. Just rub it around the top. Put your lid on. It's not going to stick. So thank you so much for going into the comments and giving me some really great tips so I can use E6000 and it's a little bit more enjoyable. Now let's use a salt and pepper shaker as a riser. I have this beautiful crystal dish and another little glass bowl. We're going to incorporate these all together. We're going to use our E6000 and we're going to put some on the bottom of the riser. Center it right in the middle of the bowl. That looks great. And then we're going to put some E6000 right around the rim. Put the lid on. It's not going to stick because we have that mineral oil on it. And we're going to center this little dish. Let's set it aside for 24 hours and I'll be back and I'll show you how to style this and how beautiful it is. Next clever way to upcycle a teapot is to turn it into a little sewing station. This is a gorgeous teapot that I picked up at the thrift store when I got the rest of them. But what I like about this is it's got a really wide mouth on it that's going to be perfect for this project. I've got some cotton material, some batten, a needle and thread, and we're just going to take our lid and we're going to cut out a circle about an inch and a half bigger than the lid. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be just a little bit bigger than the lid. And then we just have our needle and thread, and we're just going to go around the outside of that circle with the needle and thread until we get to the end. I've gotten to the end, and now we want to take a little bit of batten and we want to put it in the middle of that. You want quite a bit, so I would overfill it. And then we're just going to slowly just start to pull our thread together and get that all stuffed in there. And then we can just tie our thread off. I've got it all gathered together, lots of stuffing in there. We're going to use some hot glue. And then we're gonna push it right in the lid. So it's nice and secure in there. And it'll still fit on the teapot. And let's fill it up with some sewing stuff. So you can fill your teapot with a tape measure, some embroidery floss, some needles. You can fit in some thread. And if you have a tiny pair of scissors, these ones are the smallest ones that I have, so they don't really fit in there, but you can get the little sewing ones. But the funnest part is you can have this as your little pin cushion. Stick the pins in the top. And you can work away while you're sewing and not lose them. And you can also keep them nice and neat and tidy in your little teapot. I think this is a really handy upcycle to do with your teapots. I also had this spoon catch my eye, and wooden spoons are really expensive too. This was 25 cents, but it is thirsty. It is really dried out. So when I see things like this, wooden bowls, wooden spoons, there's a really easy way to upcycle them, and that's using mineral oil. You can find this at the hardware store or on Amazon. I'll put the link down below in the description, but you want to use something that's food grade. This mineral oil is fantastic. It's going to moisturize that wood. You can see how it's soaking right into that wooden spoon. There's so much life left back in this. And once we get the mineral oil on it, it's going to be fantastic to put back up in the kitchen. But you can see how it's soaking in and making it look brand new. So don't pass those wooden bowls, wooden spoons, or anything, cutting boards. Just grab some mineral oil and wipe it on. Let it sit for a few minutes. It's good to go, and add to your kitchen. Next upcycle. How cute is this little pig? And when I was in the thrift store, I found him, but he had lost his mate. It was only one little pig. So we're going to give him a new home. And this is a really easy way to upcycle salt and pepper shakers. We're going to remove the little bottom, actually save these, because a lot of times when you're out looking for salt and pepper shakers, these are missing. So you can probably replace it with this one. So we'll set that aside. And I just went out to my garden and I got a stick. We've got our hot glue gun. We're going to put some hot glue on the end of that stick. And we're just going to put it in through that hole and just hold it until it sticks. We have a little pig on a stick. Well, that is so cute. And when you tuck this into one of your little house plants and have it peeking just out in between the leaves, they're so stinking adorable. And there's so many little animal salt and pepper shakers that you can find at the thrift store, or maybe you have in your cupboard tucked up away, that you can do this super simple, super easy way to upcycle a salt and pepper shaker. Before I head to a craft store to buy ribbon, I always think when I'm at the thrift store, can this piece of material be turned into a beautiful ribbon and save me all kinds of material? The answer is yes. So this was $3.99, 50% off, and it is a lot of material. I think it was probably, I would never wear it like this, but it's a lot of material, and we can cut this up and turn it into a lot of ribbon. And it's really simple to do. It's going to give you kind of like a rustic, kind of frayed looking ribbon, but it's going to have all of the beautiful colors in this. And of course, when you're going through and you're looking at all the scarves and all the different materials, you can do this with shirts too, plaid shirts or blouses. And if there's stains on them, use them as ribbon. You just want to pick the length that you want your ribbon to be. And then just start ripping. And then when you get to a corner, you can just cut. And then you're going to have a continuous ribbon. You can cut and then just keep going. We're going to cut down a little bit more. There we go. And just keep going until you've used up all of your material. If it gets snagged a little bit, you can cut it. Oh, I'm knocking down paintbrushes. Actually, as we're doing this, I can show you something else that I used that was not for its intended purpose. I had this vase that I found. I'm really squirreling here because as I knocked paintbrushes off, I'm making ribbon. I wanted to show you this. It's full of paintbrushes. It's a beautiful vase. I filled it up with sand and it keeps them all upright. If you don't have any sand, you could use some coffee beans. You could use some rice, but what a great way to upcycle a beautiful vase into something that it's not intended to be used for. I just threw down another paintbrush. We're not going to worry about that. We are back. We are back to making ribbon now. Wow, my brain sometimes. And I don't even drink real coffee. I drink decaf. Can you imagine if I was drinking that high test stuff? Oh my goodness. So I'm not going to let you watch me go through and rip all of this up, but I'll be back and I'm going to show you how much ribbon we are going to have from this scarf. This is how much ribbon we got from that one scarf. So many possibilities now with this. You can crochet with it. You can knit with it. You could cover a lampshade with it. You can just use it as accent ribbon on your DIY projects. You can make a rug out of it. If you have any other ideas that you can do with this ribbon, let me know down below in the comments. This is a lot. And you can just spool it up. I can't find the end now. I've just got a little spool here. So I'm going to spool it all up on that so it stays all in one spot. And yeah, next time you're at the thrift store, you're not going to be overlooking all of those scarves and seeing what you can turn into ribbon. There's always so much china at the thrift store, and I'm always trying to think of ways that we can upcycle them and maybe just elevate them a little bit. So when I found this platter, it's beautiful. It was only $2.99, and then I think it was, another 25% off of that. So really affordable. We don't ever have to buy new dishes. There's so many that we can sort through and find that would match our decor at the thrift store. I'm going to struggle here. We're going to take the price tags off. I just wanted to show you how much I paid for them. We're also going to use these little votive holders. They were 49 cents, and of course they were 25% off too. Let me get the price tags off of them, get them cleaned up, and I'm going to show you how to upcycle it. Okay, we got everything cleaned off. There was a lot of stickers on here. There was also stickers on the bottom. So I have wiped everything down with alcohol to make sure that there's no grease, no grime on it. We're going to flip our plate over, and we're going to take the candles out. This is not going to be using candles. Put that in my candle stash. And we are going to use these as little feet. We're going to set them where we think they're going to look well. Oops, we still got some of the candle in that one. Oh, there we go. And we're going to use hot glue and E6000. Just so it sticks really well and it doesn't move around while we're waiting for it to cure. So we're going to flip these over, add the E6000. If you have another glue that you like better than E6000, let me know down in the comments, because this one's a pain in the neck. It works really well. It's really hard to squeeze out. That's why I use this little toothpaste tube thing. But I have a love-hate, as I said in lots of other videos, with E6000, and you just watched me put this down, and I didn't put any hot glue on it, but that's okay. I get talking, I get excited, and then I forget my steps. That's okay. Then we're going to use hot glue. Just going to put 2 dabs. Some people have said that the hot glue kind of interferes with the curing of the E6000. I have never had that issue. I haven't found that has been something that I've been worried about. Looks pretty good. I'm going to take this off and put some hot glue on it. I just don't trust how clumsy I am and knocking this over. There we go. Let's try this again. Set this down there. And we'll spin it around. We're going to glue these other 2 on. And then I'm going to set it aside and let it dry for a day. We'll be back and I'll show you how beautiful this turns out. These are the cutest salt and pepper shakers, and they're really big. Missing the bottoms. Do not throw out the bottoms of other salt and pepper shakers that you upcycle, because this is exactly what you might need them for. I had one left over and it fits in here perfect, so I can use it to seal up this one. Now this one has got a big crack in it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, so we're going to set this one aside. But this one here, we're going to turn into a flower frog. I have a full tutorial that goes through all the steps on how to drill glass and ceramic, and it's really super simple. I'm going to use that technique today on top of this salt and pepper shaker because it's got lots of room. It already has some holes. You just need a dish and a cloth. I just want this so it doesn't move around on me. You can buy the special bits for glass and ceramic on Amazon. I'll put the link down below in the description. But before you try any of this, make sure that you watch that tutorial so you have all the safety tips and all the tricks to be successful when you're drilling into glass or ceramic. I'll put the QR code right here. We'll put it down below and watch that video after you finish watching this one. You just want to make sure you have some water on the top. The drill bit gets warm. We're going to enlarge the one hole. And there we have one hole drilled. It's a little bit bigger. There's lots of different size drill bits in here, so just pick out what you want. But I've got lots of surface here, so I'm going to put a few more holes and I'll be back when it's all finished. We've got some holes drilled in the top and it's going to make a beautiful flower frog. We're going to pour some water in it, and it has that stopper in the bottom now, so it should hold water, but I'll probably put a little saucer underneath just to hold the water in it and keep everything in place. And then you can just put your flowers in here. How beautiful is this? With a little salt and pepper shaker. Beautiful way to upcycle a salt and pepper shaker. This candlestick was definitely homemade. It's heavy, it's gorgeous. We're not going to use it as a candlestick. Now the base is a little bit wonky. It's got a screw in the bottom. I think it just needs to be tightened up if I can. Give it a twist. There we go. Tighten it up. Okay, so this is clever. Head to the thrift store when you're looking for candlesticks. Look for a little wooden bowl. We are going to use our hot glue gun. Now, I had somebody in the comments in my last video give me the most clever tip. I've got my glue gun here and it's always kind of sliding around and it went flying. And somebody said, get some of this. Put it underneath your glue gun. It's not going anywhere. Sometimes some things are just so simple that it doesn't even cross your mind. Thank you so much for going into the comments and giving me that little tip. Hot glue, we're going to take some. We're going to put some along the top. Oh, and this was $2 at the thrift store. I haven't taken the price tag off of it yet. What a steal for homemade candlestick for $2. Can't beat that. You're going to get your wooden bowl and you're going to, let's maybe do it this way so we know we have it right in the center. Stick it in there, flip it over, and we're just going to let that dry, and I'm going to be back and I'm going to show you what we're going to use this for. Have you got a favorite hat that you want to display and not get scrunched up? There's your beautiful hat holder made from a candlestick and a wooden bowl, both from the thrift store. I think this is absolutely beautiful and such a clever idea. Got a candlestick holder. Grab a rechargeable light bulb off of Amazon. Look for a tiny lampshade at the thrift store. Put them all together. This fits in here really well. It has a charger on the back, so you can, I'll just show you. See if we can get this to turn on here. Might need to be charged. That might be handy if I had it charged. We'll charge it and I'll show you how beautiful it is. And this snaps on the top. And we've created the cutest little lamp from a candlestick. First thrift find I'm going to show you is this gorgeous lampshade. I love the fabric, beautiful butterflies, beads have to go. And if you have priced lampshades lately, they're really expensive. So I always am scouring the thrift store when I want to pick up some. Now these ones, I'm just going to take off the little beads. I'm going to save the beads because we can use those for another project. I should have got a little dish to put these all in, but it's really going to make this lampshade look a lot more modern. It's going to fit my decor really well, and it's so easy to upgrade a lampshade even if it's got some tacky little beads on it. So I'm just gonna work away and remove all these beads, and I'm gonna style it on my lamp and show you how gorgeous it is. Oh, and this was $2. I've got all the beads off, and you can see how much nicer this looks. It looks like a really high-end lampshade now. I've got the perfect lamp. We're gonna put it on, and I'll show you how I styled it. Okay, we got a candlestick holder that I paid $3.99 for. Really great deal. I love that it's really ornate and the beadwork in it. It really matches my decor. And I picked up a toothbrush holder. It was $1.99, 50% off. We're gonna clean these up, get the price tags off them, and we're gonna make something really clever. Okay, we got these all cleaned up. Now, this has a plug in the bottom because it was a toothbrush holder. And I just want to make sure that it's going to hold water. If it doesn't, I am going to glue this in permanently. So I'll be right back. We're going to put some water in this. Okay, let's see if it leaks. Wipe it all off. It feels like it has a really tight seal on it. Yeah, it's not leaking. Okay, we're good. Okay, I'm gonna dump the water out. We're gonna spray paint this black because I think that's gonna match this better. So I'm gonna do that. We'll be back. I had a plant that needed some pieces cut off of it. So we are just going to get this ready to propagate. This is such a cute idea of upcycling a toothbrush holder and using a candle stand to pull it all together. So I'm going to cut these all up, fill this up, put this in here, and I have the perfect spot for it in my home. Sometimes it's nice just to upgrade your old salt and pepper shakers. So when I found these wooden ones, I grabbed them right away. It was $5.99 for this set, and they're solid wood in really good condition. They don't even look like they were ever used. I looked inside and they're nice and clean. So these are gonna go in my dining room and put to good use. These are adorable salt and pepper shakers, and they've got a beautiful kind of shabby chic rose pattern on them. They are marked Stanford, made in England. I'm not going to alter these because they're beautiful. They are missing the bottom pieces, but let's do some place cards. I printed off my name. I've got some nice fancy scissors. We're gonna cut out my name. I think this is a fantastic idea for a wedding if you wanted to label all of your placemats. Again, we just did the same thing with the wire. We wrapped it around. We have a circle. This one's got 3 holes in it, so we'll put that in there. And then you can just slip your place card in. This one, it only has 1 hole in it, and I don't want to drill any holes. I was thinking I could take a little piece of greenery and put it in the middle, but it kind of looks cheesy, I think, just because the hole is so small. I can't fit in any more than 1, but what do you think? It's kind of cute. Not sure about the little greenery. It might look nicer just having it beside it by itself. But I love this idea of turning them into little place cards. Before you upcycle any teapot, one good thing that you should probably do first is do a Google reverse search and make sure that your teapot isn't worth any money, because some of them are kind of collectible and we don't want to be changing these into something else when they might be worth something that you could resell. So I have done that with all the teapots that I'm working today, and none of them are really worth all that much. But another great idea that you can turn teapots into is a bird house or a bird feeder. And this one we're going to turn into a bird feeder. I just went and got a twig out of my garden that fits in the spout really well. And I've got my hot glue gun. We're just gonna add some hot glue on that stick. I'm also gonna add some right in the spout. And we're just gonna stick that twig in. It's just gonna give the little birds just something to perch on when they're getting ready to eat some of the bird seed. And that's gonna set up really nice in there. And I just have some bird seed that I bought at our local hardware store. And we're just gonna fill up our teapot. And you want to put just enough seed in so when you're tipping it up that it's going to be enough in there for it to have a nice little snack for our birds. We're going to take this outside and I'm going to hang it up in one of our trees. I almost didn't pick this up because the opening here just seemed really small and I didn't know if a candle was going to fit in it properly. It's beautiful. It's handmade. It's got the initials on it. I'm just going to pick up a candle and see if we can make it work. So this was $2. The little candle, see if we can get it out of the wrapper here, was 25 cents. Always look for candles when you're at the thrift store. It's so much cheaper and you can get some really good quality ones. There is some wax on this. It does need to be kind of cleaned up a little bit. I can probably just take my fingernail and scratch some of this and then take it up and give it a real good scrub with some soapy water. I think if I just melt the bottom of this candle, it's going to have it stay upright. And it's gorgeous. I'm always looking for pottery. It's so unique and it's so original and my house is full of it. At some point, I probably should stop collecting it, but it's just so gorgeous and I love it. So I'm gonna style this up in my living room. I've seen this DIY go viral on Pinterest and on Instagram, and I have been on the hunt for one of these stained glass lampshades because you can invert them upside down. Oh, this one was only $14.99 and it was 50% off. It's handmade. It is gorgeous. I'll clean this up. I'll get the sticker off of it. But if you invert it upside down, it turns into a planter and it is gorgeous. I have a fern upstairs that I know is going to look beautiful in this. I'm going to put it all together and I'll show you how it looks. The thrift store in my local town has 5 books for $1. So every time I go, I grab 5 books and I use them in my decor. And what I usually do is I'll bring them home and I'll remove the jackets and use these to prop up decor or put them in a bookshelf. But $5 for $1, you can't beat that price. And I don't throw out the jackets either. I'll cut them up, or I'll punch them with paper cutters, and I'll add them into my junk journaling projects or make cards out of them. But I grabbed these, and they're all kind of different colors. And nothing is more beautiful than a stack of books in a hutch or a buffet. And books sometimes can be really expensive. So when I found this store, and they had them $5 for $1, it's a great find. And you can see all these different colors. Let's stack them up like this. Isn't that pretty? And to put in a dresser or a buffet. And I also found this little music book, and it's missing the cover, but how fantastic would this be for your junk journaling, or make into envelopes, and you could coffee dye them, tea stain them. So I picked this one up. It was 25 cents. No brainer. How cute are these little salt and pepper shakers? They were 50 cents a piece, and the one has had his head broken off. It has been re-glued. It's not, these are not worth anything, but I'm gonna show you a really cute way that we can upcycle these. I have some spackling, and I'm just gonna use a little bit just to fill in those holes, just to cover them up. And then we're gonna set them aside and let that spackling dry. Put a little bit on the other one. Okay, this will just take probably about a half an hour. I'm gonna set them aside. We're gonna let them dry, and we'll be back. The spackling is all dry. We're gonna give these a couple coats of this beautiful gold spray paint. And we have the cutest little golden geese. And these are perfect to tuck into a house plant. You can tuck it in like with the leaves, and it looks really cute. You can use it as decor in a cabinet or on a stack of books. The possibilities are amazing, and you can use so many different colors of spray paint. I love the gold on these. I think it was exactly what they needed, and such a fun way to upcycle some broken salt and pepper shakers. When I saw these, I had to buy them. They're so cute. But when I picked them up and started looking at them a little bit closer, there's quite a bit of damage done to them. There's a petal missing here, a petal missing here, and here. They're not worth anything. Before you're upcycling any sort of project, make sure you do your research to make sure you're not going to be altering something that might be worth some money that we didn't know about. I did some research. They aren't worth very much money even before the chips. So this is not my vibe, the pastel colors. These might be really good for Easter, but if I want to use them for every day, it just doesn't really look all that great. So we are going to take them over here outside. We're going to spray paint them, and I'm going to give them an upcycle to make them look more modern and more modern and more modern and more modern. You know what I mean. These are all dry. I did them in a matte black, and I am going to use some antique gold rub and buff, and that's just going to elevate these to the next level. This rub and buff a little bit goes a long way, and you just kind of have to just brush it on the high spots, and it really works well. See how beautiful that is? And it's just going to make those roses pop. And yeah, you don't need very much. Okay, I'm going to work away at this. We'll do this one and the other one. We'll get a candle in it and I'll show you how beautiful they are just with a little bit of rub and buff. This is a handmade pottery candlestick holder. It's just beautiful. And I probably will use it for a candlestick holder here and there, but I have even a more clever idea. And that is get some water, put it in the base, grab your paintbrush that you're crafting with, paint, clean it, put it here to store it. Ta-da! How clever is that? I am a sucker for brass candlesticks, but I have so many. So I was trying to find a way that I could incorporate this into my home decor, not using it as a candlestick. Now, I paid $7.99 a piece for these, which is a little bit more than what I normally would pay, but they were so beautiful. I couldn't leave them there. And this is what I came up with. This is what I'm going to use them for. Bracelets. These fit right over. You can store them. You can see them. And you can load it right up. And it's a great way to keep them all organized, and you can display them really nice too. Also, let's do scrunchies. These things get everywhere, always losing them. So when you have a beautiful candlestick like this, you can just put them on. I'm going to keep them all in one spot. You can put them on your bathroom counter or wherever you do your hair. Clever way to upcycle some candlesticks. Now we have the other little spice jar, and I have two ways that I'm going to show you to upcycle this one. The first one is just take the lid off, and it's the cutest little bottle. Let's do some propagating. I'm going to fill it up with water. I have some clippings from my umbrella tree. We're going to put them in there, put it in the window, and use it as a little propagation station. And you can collect them and do all of your clippings in little salt and pepper shakers or in the little spice bottles. Candlestick holder, a little plate, put it together, make something beautiful. This was only 99 cents. We're going to scrape that off. We're going to clean it up. And this was tricky because I thought this was a candle holder and it's not. I brought it home and I got looking at it and I'm like, why is there a hole in the bottom? And you guys know what this is? This is a pepper mill and it had been taken apart. It definitely could work as a candlestick holder. The top is missing, but it tricked me. I thought it was a candle holder, but it's still gonna be beautiful. We are going to take some E6000. We're gonna put some on the top. And I also like using a little bit of hot glue just to hold it in place. I'm going to just put a couple dabs here and there. And I always like to do it the opposite way. So flip the bowl up so you can see where you're putting it and you're making sure you've got it centered. Let's center it right in the middle of that little trinket plate. And these trinket plates are all over the place in the thrift store. You can find them all over. Let's flip this up. We're gonna set it aside. We're gonna let that dry. That's so adorable. Even if it isn't a candlestick holder, it's still really adorable. These bigger salt and pepper shakers are also great for holding beads or buttons or findings. And they're great because you can see what's in them. And then they also look really beautiful when you put them on a shelf to display them. So you can fill it up with your favorite beads, put the lid on, and a great way to store jewelry making stuff. If you're an owl lover, you're going to love this upcycle. I love finding salt and pepper shakers that are different themes: Christmas, Halloween, Easter, animals. And when I found these ones, the bottoms were missing. So I know they would be perfect to upcycle. We are going to turn them into ornaments, and we're going to have a stash of ribbon that we're going to use, and we're going to make a couple tassels. We're going to take the ribbon that we have. You can use twine. You can use whatever you have in your stash to make tassels. I actually have a full tutorial on how to make the perfect tassel. I'll put the QR code right here and also a link down below in the description. And you can watch that if you want a real in-depth tutorial on how to create beautiful tassels. But I'm just wrapping this ribbon around my fingers. I have some that's longer than others. That's perfect. Now we're going to take a length of wire. That looks pretty good right there. I make all kinds of these at Christmas with Christmas themed salt and pepper shakers, and anyone that I give them to absolutely loves them as gifts. So we're just putting the wire through the top of that ribbon, and we're going to just twist it really tight a couple times, probably 3 times. And now our ribbon is secured on that wire. We're going to now feed the wire through 2 of the holes in the salt and pepper. Takes a little bit of dexterity and good eyesight to see what you're doing. There we go. So we've got 1 through. Now, and this is nice because this wire is kind of flexible, so you can move it around where you need it. Let's put the other one through. There we go. That one went easy. And we're just going to pull it until the tassel is just sitting on the bottom of the salt and pepper shaker. I want to pull it a little bit snug inside just so it looks nice. And then you're going to twist your wire. And if you don't have any wire, you can always use twine and try it out that way. I've twisted it twice. I got a couple beads here. We're gonna string on. I've got a bead stash from when I was into jewelry making a few years ago. So I always have lots that I can go back and choose from. We're gonna thread 2 beads onto the top of it. And I also had this little necklace in my stash that we're going to use. And it's got a little loop there. So we're going to put the 1 loop. We're going to cut some of that wire off, use my pliers, and I'm going to tuck that wire into the top of the bead so it's not going to come loose. And we're going to do the same on the other side. We're going to tuck that second wire into the bead and wait until you see how cute these are. The last thing that we need to do is we're going to cut the bottom ribbons all off. And of course, if you're using a twine, you can unravel it so it's got a nice full look to it. And don't forget to check out that video on how to do the perfect DIY tassel. We're just going to trim this so it's all the same length. How stinking cute is that? From a salt and pepper shaker that I found at the thrift store. And I think this set was $1. And you can imagine if this was a Christmas themed salt and pepper, and you could hang it on a tree for a gift. I hope that gave you some inspiration. Have you got an ugly outlet in your kitchen or your dining room, or a room where it looks out of place? Here's a great hack to use a little china dish. You want to make sure you've got it facing upwards, and then get an electrical outlet cover, one of the baby-proof ones. You're going to use your hot glue gun. You're going to put some hot glue on the back. You want to make sure you got your outlet going the right way. Place it right in the middle of your plate. Let it dry completely. And I'm going to show you how beautiful this is. Have you found a beautiful lampshade, but you don't need any more lamps, but you did not want to leave the lampshade there? I'm going to show you a creative way to upcycle this, and it's not using it on a lamp. I have a beautiful plant, but it's just kind of boring in a plain black pot. So what's nice about the lampshades is it already has a base to hold your pot. So you can put your plant right in it, display it in a nice spot, and it's a great way to upcycle some lampshades. This is a really cute set of salt and pepper shakers, but the tops have kind of discolored a little bit, so they're great for upcycling. You want to make sure when you're doing projects like this to do some research first, because we don't want to be altering some salt and pepper shakers that maybe might be worth a little bit of money. And there are some out there that are. So just be careful before you upcycle anything or alter it to make sure that you're not ruining something that's worth some cash. So we're just going to remove the tops off of both of these. We're going to do the little purple one first. Here's a really clever idea. I picked this up at the dollar store. It's a reed diffuser. And you can use this little salt and pepper shaker as a reed diffuser container. This comes with the scent, and you can just pour it. Why do I always do this and not do this when I'm off camera? And then you guys have to watch me struggle while I try to open these and do a DIY project. But that's good. It had a little top in there so it didn't spill. We're going to pour that oil in the salt and pepper shaker, add our reeds, and tuck it in a corner where you want to have some nice scent go throughout your room. This piece has already been put together, but I wanted to show you it because it has 2 candlesticks and 3 plates that I found at the thrift store. I did a video where I upcycled a whole bunch of china full of inspiration. I'll put the QR code right here, and maybe you can watch that after you're finished watching this video. But how beautiful is this to create a tiered tray with some candlesticks? Now, I did, after I made this one, I had some people in the comments, and I never really thought about it. That's why I love when people go to the comments and give me advice or recommendations when I'm doing something. I should have turned these candlesticks upside down, and then that would have given more room underneath here for when you're putting on your treats or your sandwiches or whatever. But I love it. Great inspiration to upcycle some candlesticks. Now, these aren't necessarily salt and pepper shakers, but they're little spice containers. And I always pick these up at the thrift store when I find them because there's so many ways that you can upcycle them. One way is we're going to take the lid off. We're going to get a piece of wood. Because this is a solid lid and we want to drill a little hole in it, we can just take our drill a hole in a couple places in the top. Just like this. And now we've got 4 holes in the lid. And I'm going to show you what you can do with these. So now that we've got the holes in the lid, there's so many ways that you can use this. You can put sugar in it and use it as a sugar shaker, icing sugar, flour if you want to dust your countertop. You can put water in it and sprinkle it in your plants. I love to use this in the spring when I'm planting my garden. I have a little envelope of seeds, and these are really kind of tiny and they're hard to disperse. So I like to just take them, pour them in the bottle, And then you can put the lid on, take them out to your garden, and you can sprinkle them along, and they're going to evenly disperse better than just trying to do it with your hand and to sprinkle it. Now we have the other little spice jar, and I have two ways that I'm going to show you to upcycle this one. The first one is just take the lid off, and it's the cutest little bottle. Let's do some propagating. I'm going to fill it up with water. I have some clippings from my umbrella tree. We're going to put them in there, put it in the window, and use it as a little propagation station. And you can collect them and do all of your clippings in little salt and pepper shakers or in the little spice bottles. I've had this candle holder in my stash for quite a while, and I was bored of it. I just had this taper candle in it, and it just wasn't, it was blah. So when I found this at the thrift store, I immediately bought it and knew I was going to use it with this. It was 50 cents. So it allows you to turn a candlestick holder, get the sticker off here. I don't know. I like to show you guys the prices, so that's why I don't take them off. And then you have to watch me struggle take the price tag off when I'm putting stuff together. What do I do? And this just fits right in here like it would a pillar candle. It already looks better. And you can go back to using that, don't like it, but now you've turned it into being able to use a smaller candle. And I think that looks so much better. And I see these all the time at the thrift store. This comes off. It's like a little ring that's made to fit in the candle holders. Clever idea. Keep your eye out for those to upcycle some candlesticks. Another way I love to upcycle these is to keep your matches. This is just some wooden matches, and I have lots of candles in my home. So we're going to take them out of that ugly box. I picked these up at the dollar store. They're a lot cheaper than buying them off of Amazon. And put the lid back on. And then we want to cut out the strike pad. And we're going to then measure the bottom. We're going to cut it to the size that it's going to fit. I've got a hot glue gun here. We're going to put some hot glue on the bottom. Glue it. And you can set this beside your candle in your living room and have a really pretty spot to keep your matches. Another clever way to do with this is when you're camping, keep your matches in here. They're waterproof. Tuck them in your camping supplies and you've got matches ready to go. This is actually a really beautiful set of salt and pepper shakers, and they were $2. But I have too many salt and pepper shakers that I'm using for salt and pepper. So I am going to show you how you can maybe perk up your spice cabinet or your spice rack with some salt and pepper shakers. I have a packet of ground ginger, and they're always so hard to pour out and to even store and have them look nice. So I'm going to take this salt and pepper shaker, and it's clean. There was nothing else in it before. I made a little paper funnel. We're just going to pour that ginger into the salt and pepper shaker. I love ginger. Ginger molasses cookies, one of my favorites. And we're just gonna fill up this little salt and pepper shaker. And salt and pepper shakers are something that you're gonna find at every thrift store. I went in and was trying to find a couple just to even film for this video, and I found all kinds. You're going to probably pay a little bit more for like the fancier ones. But if you are, those are the ones that are probably worth a little bit of money. So we don't want to upcycle them. And just finding plain ones like these, you can pick them up from anywhere from 50 cents to a couple bucks and do some of these upcycling projects. Okay, we've got our ginger in there. Now we want to label this. So we know ginger is in here. So I've made a little label. I just printed off the word ginger on my laser printer. I've got some packing tape. If you've been following along here, you've seen me do this technique probably quite a few times. It's so handy for making labels or for making stuff for your junk journals or your DIYs. It's a really cool technique. Unfortunately, it only works on a laser printer. It doesn't work on an inkjet printer. That's the only drawback with this. But if you do a lot of crafting, I would invest in a laser printer. Well worth the money. And they are not as expensive as they used to be. So we've just taken some packing tape and we've laid it over top of that label. And you want to press it really hard to get that paper with the laser printed word on it really bonded into that tape really well. We're going to cut off the extra. And if this is the first time seeing this, you wait for the magic. This is so cool. Okay, next step. Now we're going to take our little ginger sign and put it in some water. We're just going to let it soak for maybe 10 seconds. And what we're going to do is when we take it out of the water, we can start to rub off the paper. And the paper is going to come off, but the words are going to stay on the tape. And it stays sticky. I need to soak that just a little bit more in that corner. These are really great to organize your pantry or bins that you have, or label things in your kids' stuff. And of course, you can make them as big as a piece of packing tape. And you just want to rub off all of that paper. It doesn't take very much. And once it's dry, it is sticky again. And you can stick it on your little spice bottle. And now we know we have ginger in there. We can put it in our pantry. And it's good to go. And if you don't have a laser printer and you want to still label your little container, just cut the words off of the package. Try to do a nice square. And then you can just get a piece of packing tape, stick it on there, and then just cut around the edges. Just enough to leave some tape to stick to your spice jar or your salt and pepper shaker. And you have a great label that you can stick on the bottle. We're going to try and get this straight. There we go. So there's two different ways of labeling some salt and pepper shakers after you've put something other than salt and pepper in them. So we've got our ground ginger from the package, and then we have our DIY label that we made. When I'm out thrifting and I find something like this, it's just boring. It screamed like, I need something more. So what I do, I'll usually put it in my hand and I'll walk around and see what I can pull together to make it into something more unique. So this is what I found. I found this beautiful globe that was probably off of maybe a light fixture. It was only $1.99. I'm going to take the price tag off. I'll clean that up. And of course, I always have all kinds of these, and you can find them at the thrift store really cheap too. So we are going to incorporate all three of these together and take a boring candlestick and turn it into something unique, one of a kind, and beautiful. This actually, as I was walking around, I tested it. It fits right in. How is that not meant to be? And then this can go right on the top. And we've created, it's still a candle holder, but it's next level. So what do you think? I found these salt and pepper shakers at the thrift store. And as soon as I saw them, I was inspired because I knew what I wanted to do with them. Now, these are marked Japan, so they probably are a little bit collectible. I'm not going to alter them anyway. We're just going to add to them and make them more fun and whimsical. So I designed a package of 12 canning labels. I'll put the picture right here. They're available in my Etsy store. They're also in my Patreon graphic club. So if you are a member, you can go and grab those 12 canning labels right away and craft with them, or you can grab them in my Etsy store. All those links will be down below in the description. But I have designed this corn graphic, and I thought it was perfect for these salt and pepper shakers. So what we're going to do is I am going to cut out the graphic. I'm going to cut out the black border. I don't want that for this project. We're going to trim that right off. Perfect. I'm going to cut a piece of cardboard the same size as the graphic. Perfect. Now I'm going to paint this black. Both sides are painted black. We're going to get out our Mod Podge mat. We're going to put some Mod Podge on a piece of cardboard right out to the edge. And we're going to take our graphic. We're going to lay it right in there. We have a little bit of black peeking all around the edges. We're going to take a sprayer. We're going to press that down really well. Perfect. I have some ink. We're just going to go around the edges in case there's a little bit of white showing on that paper. There is a little bit. I love this group of 12 graphics. I've used them so much in all of my crafting. They have such that vintage kind of retro feel. Okay, so now we're just going to set that aside and let it dry. And we are going to now get a piece of wire. We're going to cut it about, we're going to measure it with the salt and pepper. So we want it about 1 inch above the top. We're going to cut that. We're going to kind of fold it in half. And we're going to take a big paintbrush and we're going to wrap it around. So we have 2 loops of the wire. Make sure it's formed really nice in the circle. And this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to wash my hands and we'll be right back. Okay, so now the perfect thing about this is they only have 2 holes. So we're going to put the wire through those 2 holes. And then we can just slip that graphic between the 2 wires. And how adorable is that? Of course, you can imagine the possibilities with this DIY for place cards, for table numbers, for a wedding, for seasonal decor, so many possibilities. And you can also use old photos. This one's fantastic to fool around with, and I absolutely love this corn graphic with this salt and pepper shaker. This beautiful candlestick caught my eye and I grabbed it right away. I love the floral print on it. It was $6.99. I had a coupon for, I think, 30% off. So that was a great deal. And I had this little wicker basket. I've had it forever. And I knew I wanted to put these 2 together. Now, when you're doing a project like this and you don't want it to be really permanent, use your hot glue gun. If you want it to be really permanent, then you can use some E6000. That's guaranteed to not budge when you use it. But this one, if I ever want to go back to using it as a candlestick, I can probably just pop it right off. We're going to put on some hot glue. I love this little basket too. This is going to have like a real kind of boho vibe. We're going to do it this way so we make sure we have it centered. Press it in. And this is a great little catch-all to maybe put at your entranceway to hold keys, or in your bathroom to hold some beauty supplies. So many ideas, and it's absolutely gorgeous. This candle holder is actually going to be used what it was intended for, but I see these all the time. You can paint them any color. Spray paint works best to match your decor. I always am on the lookout for brand new candles, always, all kinds. So when I found this beautiful, maybe like a peony or like a rose candle, I knew the two needed to be put together. And how gorgeous is that? I think these were each 50 cents a piece. So yeah, don't sleep on looking for brand new candles or the little candle holders and putting two together. I kind of feel like these two were meant to be together. A candle holder and a crystal dish. We are going to, really simple, glue these two together. We're going to use some E6000. And some hot glue. If you don't put the lid right back on this after you use it, it spews everywhere. Little tip, which I'm sure if you've used E6000 you already know. I'm going to put a little hot glue here. Again, we're going to go upside down so we can make sure that we have it centered. We're going to set this aside. We're going to let it dry. And I'm going to show you the clever idea that I'm going to use this for, and it doesn't involve candles.